Council meeting in the Village of Cleves. Would you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Be seated, please. And Penny, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Bryce.
Present.
Mr. Walters. Ms. Bolton.
Here.
Ms. Meister.
Here.
Ms. Jennings.
We have a quorum. So right now, the first thing we need to do is to excuse, a motion to excuse Mr. Walters for missing this evening. He had a conflict at the time that we called this meeting, but did contact me immediately. So I'd like to have a motion. So I'd like to read the following statement to the public and support. The Village of Cleves recently appointed a new village administrator. The village had intentions to increase the collaborative workspace for officials and to create to have access to the officials for the citizens of Cleves. The Hamilton County Sheriff's Office, in which occupies the majority of the building, has issued a directive to limit access to village employees. Due to the needed space, the onboarding of the administrator and the sheriff's office directive will divide the building into 2 floors, with Cleves occupying the 2nd floor, that's the top floor, and the sheriff's office occupying the 1st. This should resolve any further issues with the future of the village's relationship with the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office. At this point, is there anybody that would like to comment on that? I will entertain anybody from the public who's here. Any questions from council?
Yeah, I have a question. At one time, we had documents and such stored downstairs. Do we have anything at all stored down there?
At this point, I can't answer that question because I haven't been downstairs.
I don't know if it all got moved when they moved up into the waterworks building or not, but we had ordinance books, resolution books, we had minutes.
I think we have all those.
Okay.
Because I think Penny has scanned most of them, and we'll be sending them on to Ham Legal for codification.
Okay.
In your packet, everybody has a resolution that I had Mr. Merkel prepare for tonight. And, I'd like you to take a look at that. I know you're just getting a hold of this. There's been some changes in it. If you want me to read it, I'll be glad to do so.
I have some questions.
Sure.
So what brought this about, and when and where did the directive come from for Hamilton County to change the locks on that?
You want me to answer that, or you want the sheriff's department to answer?
Either one.
The directive came due to the fact that there's property room sheriff's office not be acceptable or police related, because if the RCIC, NCIC terminals are viewed by anyone, we could lose our license for the computer systems.
And for someone to get access to those, wouldn't they have to have a login and password? Anybody can't just walk in and turn that computer on and have access to it, can they?
Not if it's up on the screen. If it's up on the screen, anyone can see it.
The officer shouldn't be leaving that up on the screen if they're not in there at the terminal, should they?
If I may, it has to be in a secured area, and it's not visible to anybody for any reason. And that's RCIC. NCIC also.
So locking council out of the whole building, half the building, or what's,
What, the question, property room as well. Don't know, if somebody might go in there and manipulate things. We prefer just to have a locking. We've got that, we could just change the password on the doors is all. We wouldn't be changing locks.
okay, and then one other question, if it is divided as this ordinance would have the bottom floor, what about, furnace, the equipment that needs to be maintained?
We're talking about the.
The boiler,
The boiler room?
yes.
That would be John Knapp, and they would have to be supervised.
That's listed in resolution chaperone. Right.
And is someone available 24/7 in the event of an emergency with the boiler?
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions from council?
Yeah, what locks were changed? I'm confused here.
Well, just so you know, tried to do this place to the citizens. So we have our zoning down here, we have our clerk down here, I'm down here. My intention is that our village administrator will be down here full time. We have been holding executive sessions, and those executive sessions have not been a place where the village council could go to in a quiet, secure place to talk. We've had to have people sitting out in the lobby. It is our intent to take the upper floors, utilize those offices, and that area for council in the event we need to hold a meeting. So that is the purpose of us. We will secure that as the village's property. And what will happen then is they will be able to secure their area. And from what I understand, there's an RCIC terminal down there and plenty of office space down there for the use. They'll still be able to use this upper area, but they won't be able to get into the offices across where the window is. That's going to be utilized by village personnel.
Well, she said something about locks being changed.
The code is being changed.
On the door that comes into here?
The code that goes down the stairs. And
Oh, okay.
And that is going to be access to, we'll have access to that to get over there. They're going to be locking off. We're going to have to secure their area that they want secured with their own codes, their own locks, so that everything is secure for RCIC and their offices.
But an officer can come up and meet somebody in our lobby.
Absolutely.
They have access to the lobby.
They absolutely do.
So in other words, we're going to be putting locks on all of the doors downstairs.
Wherever they want it secured, yes.
Well, the door down there that is
Well,
an
once you
entrance.
go through this door out here, you can go down the steps. There's not a door at the bottom of the steps. You get to the bottom of the steps and there's the hallway, but there's the different areas have doors.
Well, I'm assuming that the lock down at that back door will be changed if it hasn't been already. I don't know if our park kids use that door or not. They used to years ago. They may not have, because they used to pull up in the back, but they probably don't do that anymore, so.
Their facility needs to be secured, and that's understandable.
Okay. But we can still get in the front door.
Yes.
That was never changed.
No, but it is going, we will be updating that code also.
There's no code on the outside door here.
There won't
No, I'm not
there won't be
talking
a
about
code.
that.
That's the one
I thought you meant the code to come into
that one's always unlocked anyway, correct?
the outside.
So the public can get in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
That remains the same.
Okay.
And Mr. Mayor, in your statement about council and executive session, are you suggesting that when we go into executive
We're not
session,
going in.
we will, no, I'm talking about at any point,
Yeah,
that we would go over to the other side of the building?
that is correct.
Why is that? Shouldn't we remain in council chambers for that?
Well, you can do that if you want to separate the people to usually in other villages, the township, they have a separate conference room that is private that they can go into that nobody can hear what's going on. You don't have to worry about locking the doors. You don't have to worry about sending people out.
township meeting that I was in attendance, when they went into executive session, everyone stepped out into the hallway, they shut the doors.
How many years was this?
Just before COVID.
Yeah, well, they don't do that anymore. They actually go into a conference. There is one other thing I want to draw your attention to. And as far as this is concerned, we'll take a look at section 5. We've had ongoing concerns expressed, most recently by the senior center, about the number of personal vehicles the sheriff's department takes up when they come in, because you have them coming in from different locations. The sheriff's department doesn't want to park their personal cars back here because the acorns fall off and they're afraid that things may fall down. So our intention is, in front of these garage doors, we're going to be painting yellow parking lines. It already says police only. They can park their personal vehicles in front of those doors.
There's no police vehicles that need to get out from the
They can be
garages.
parked right out back.
Okay, I'll do mine. So, to what extent has what we're has okay? So, in so much as you're able to represent the position of Hamilton County Sheriff's Office, are these terms that in any way put out Hamilton County Sheriff's Office?
Well, police department is all. But that's not up to me. I'm just your law enforcement. That's what we're here for, is to be your law enforcement. And I'm just not sure where this is coming from.
Is Hamilton?
I would have to look at that a little bit closer.
I would
to
say,
see.
for me, on a daily basis, I would say.
Can you elaborate on why?
From where it would be for criminals, and there has to be some area where we are able to have, as the law director said, a space that we can have one of the posters up that is not open to those individuals. So with it being divided as it is now, we have both office space and processing area, and we utilize those garage doors when we're bringing prisoners in and out, so that they can stay secured in a police car coming in and out of this facility. When we're bringing them in, processed, and then down to the jail. So it's worked perfectly as it is right now. To cut it in half would not be a very good thing for the sheriff's office.
Did you say?
The general business community. And there is ample parking space on Porter Street, but they're not utilizing that.
I think the logistics are gonna have to obviously be figured out.
I think rather than this being called as an emergency, I don't understand the emergency of it. I think there maybe should have been some discussion and collaboration between the two entities before we.
I wish everything would have gone as I had asked for it to go tonight. This change was not my idea. You would have had plenty of opportunity. I'm not at liberty to share more with you publicly. If Rob wants to draft an executive session and give you more detail, I'll be glad to explain to you why this absolutely has to happen.
Well, before I vote on the resolution, I would like to know the details of why it's an emergency,
Okay.
and why it has to happen right now.
Go ahead, Rob.
It's not the same.
I didn't say it's an emergency either.
It's not.
That's
So
not
this
the point.
meeting was called as an emergency.
A special.
That's called a special.
It was called as a
Well,
special
You
council.
go with 2 days notice and call it, I mean, it seems
Emergency you can
urgent.
call quicker than a special, but I'm not gonna get into that. I'm just telling you there were other factors here that are not being discussed. If the sheriff's department wants to make those public, that is up to them.
I'll defer.
I'm sorry?
I will defer on that.
I would just make a minor point that back when we had our police department, at least for a long time, you had a clerk treasurer, period. Now you got a fiscal officer, a clerk of council, a village administrator, a mayor, a zoning inspector. So we kind of outgrew this building long before we got rid of our police department, to be quite honest. I just want to make that point because things have changed, even for us. So I'm like Jerry though. I would like to get the whole information before I'm asked to make any kind of a decision.
Rob, you want to create the language for us to go into executive session so we can give that information to them?
We just need a reason.
Well, I'm not going to give it to you here publicly.
Well, no, we need one of the 5 or 6
Well,
reasons
we have
listed in the Ohio
We have
Revised
the
Code.
reason. We have
Okay,
Go ahead, Rob. I'm not going to create the language here today. I know it's 121.22, and we're going to be talking about a complaint against. a
Complaint or
public-
concern against a public official.
That's correct.
okay, all right.
I'll make that motion to go into executive session for the reasons stated by Mr. Merkel.
I'll second.
Can I just ask one more question of the county sheriff's before we,
Sure.
on the off chance that somebody dismisses themselves? If the concern is adding or changing locks, what's the barrier to doing that to meet the need of HCSO? We have kind of a landlord-tenant relationship kind of here. There are reasonable expectations of a tenant to be able to govern according to the household according to their needs, and a reasonable expectation of privacy. In this case, a legal obligation to secure the system. So what's different that if they decided that they needed a new lock, why can't they do that without a resolution?
I believe need more space. So essentially we will be asking the sheriff's department to vacate the second floor and operate solely out of the first floor.
We have a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
That was a second.
I seconded.
Okay. Any further discussion? Penny, would you call the roll?
Mr. Burns,
Yes.
Ms. Bolton,
Yes.
Ms. Meister,
Yes.
Ms. Jennings.
Yes.
Okay, everybody, we're going to be going into executive session. You need to kill the live feed. Mr. Havig, I want you to stay here, please.